Don't quit, don't get discouraged, and just enjoy the process. One of the craziest thing in speedrunning that we've done, I was so shocked and relieved on stream at the same time that I had to leave my room, just go do something else during the credits because like I couldn't, I couldn't sit here anymore.
Hey guys, I accidentally had my mic muted for the first few minutes of this interview with Xelna. So I've just clipped together his answers to my questions for the first about 4 minutes of this podcast. He's going to tell us about how his Wind Waker experience is going first, and then delve into his history with speedrunning a little bit. It'll go back to being a conversation about 4 minutes in. Sorry about that, and thanks for watching.
Yeah, my pleasure, and thanks for inviting me. Doing all right, just gaming as usual. Nothing new, just gaming. It's a very long speed run compared to say Link to the Past. It's and the cutscenes don't really help. There's a ton of cutscenes in that run, but it's I've been having a lot of fun. It's love the movement, love the game. The speed run's really cool. I'm playing the glitchless categories, but there's still a lot of cool stuff in glitchless. So yeah. Uh, well, I sort of have a target time for any person glitchless. Sub 5 hour 30 would be a good goal. 100% glitchless. I'm getting there. 8:07, 8 hours 7 minutes. Uh, yeah, 8:10. It's getting harder though. It's it's becoming a grind. Oh yeah, just to find the time during the day to fit a run in it's a challenge. Yeah, so well, it started in my childhood. I've always been interested in playing games fast, so it's just came naturally, and I loved playing game skillfully. So yeah, I thought speedrunning a game was a way to play it skillfully. I started in February 2005, speedrunning competitively with Super Smash Brothers Melee Break the Targets. Yeah, that game has 25 characters, and each character has its own stage, and each stage has 10 targets that you have to destroy, and you got to destroy them as fast as possible. And then you add all 25 characters or all 25 of your times together, and you get your total high score. And I was going for the best total high score possible, and I think at one point I had like the Canadian record or something, but that didn't last very long. Like a lot of people just started playing after me and beat me, but that was kind of cool. So that was my first experience speedrunning. And then the second game that I picked up was Marble Blast Gold. I picked that one in July 2006, I think. And that I played that game way too much, but yeah, back then I didn't really have any ways of screen capturing or recording, so I just borrowed my mom's digital camera, and I would put a pile of book in front of my laptop and just put the digital camera on top of that and record. Oh, I fail a run, reset, just start, just keep clicking over and over again. And I drained so many batteries like that, but it was fun. Video quality wasn't the greatest, but anyways, that's how I made my name in that game, I guess. And yeah, that was 2006. But those two games, Smash Melee, Break the Targets, and Marble Blast Gold, they are focused on individual levels. So that was my only experience with that. And so Link to the Past in 2013 was like my first like full game speed run. It's a bigger commitment because individual levels they're like 20 seconds, 30 seconds or whatever. So it's not really you don't really have to commit a part of your day, an hour or two to speed run that. Whereas Link to the Past, okay, you have to sit down for an hour 30, 2 hours depending. And so that was challenging at first because I was in the middle of studying translation studies, like away from home, and I was renting an apartment over there, and I would just practice the whole week, and then I would come back here and stream because the only way I could stream was when I was here for the weekend, and yeah, so that's how I started.
So that's interesting. So you have a reputation as a no reset kind of guy. Many people I've talked to who were around before I was, like Josh and Blood Bunny, have said that your approach to Link to the Past sort of transformed how people approach the speed run as being much more dedicated to like finishing out runs. You have a bad escape, you keep going, that kind of thing. Whereas you came from these runs that were like instantly over, which I would sort of associate with kind of a heavy reset mindset. So I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I hate resetting runs.
Yeah.
Just beating the game feels cool in a way. So if you reset over and over again, you're never going to beat the game, and it gets frustrating. Uh, like the more you play and the more you reset, it just gets frustrating and irritating. So I decided, okay, let me finish as many runs as possible because some stuff that you learn in practice, um, yes, some of it translates to runs, but there's stuff that you can only learn in runs, and if you never finish them, you're never going to learn those things. So yeah, I've learned many things just finishing runs, tiny details. And another thing, I guess, is speedrunslive.com. Races back then were really popular, and I didn't really like forfeiting races. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I try to complete as many races as possible, and just hanging out with my friends just gave me a good excuse to like finish my runs. So yeah, that's how I was. That was my mentality back then, and still is today. It's just finish as many runs as possible.
Yeah, it shows through in your Wind Waker runs where I'll pop into your stream sometimes and I'll see you're like, 20 minutes behind or something and just still chugging along, making the best of it.
Yeah, well, Wind Waker is a little different because it's that game is so long. So if I lose 10 minutes, 3 hours in, and I know I can't PB, I don't really feel like playing for 5 to 6 more hours. So that's a little different. But for Link to the Past, yeah, there's like no excuse.
Yeah. So do you have can you think of an example of the kind of thing that you feel like you can only learn from finishing runs? Are you thinking like psychologically? Because I know some people like Bidey often talks about how you can't you can't practice executing under pressure in the prac hack. Is it that kind of thing, or is it other stuff?
Yeah, the pressure is one thing. Yeah, mostly that. Just like little stuff. I don't like nothing comes to mind right now, but yeah, magic management, health management, pressure, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you were, well, I guess were you a Link to the Past? Are you just like a Zelda guy, like lifetime Zelda guy?
I love Zelda games, but I also play other games. Like I don't stick solely to Zelda. I've played Super Metroid, Donkey Kong Country 3.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, Super Nintendo games in general, uh, like retro games.
Yeah,
Just
same.
love to speedrun those. Yeah, yeah.
Do you have a good time in SM? I didn't know you played that one.
That was a while ago. That was in 2015 with the old route. But I think
Mm.
4830.
Yeah, that's
I
pretty
think
good.
yeah, that's decent. That game is really hard though. You just press a ton of buttons all the time. It's very
Yeah,
different than Link to the Past. But it's funny
for sure.
because the runners who played SM first and then played Link to the Past after, they think Link to the Past is impossible, and vice versa. Like I played Link to the Past first, and then I started running Super Metroid, and I just thought that game was impossible. I don't know what it is, but yeah,
It feels very, very different. I've run it a little bit. I have like a 59, so I didn't take it very seriously, but it's a very different, like you say, there's so many buttons. Like in Link to the Past, it seems like much more about knowledge and precision, and SM, you have to like press a lot of buttons to do those strats.
you got to do three things at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to piano grip literally the whole game to play SM.
There are different controller scheme too, so you can have, A for jump, B for whatever, and other runners. It's different. Yeah.
All right, anyway, but so back to Link to the Past. What sort of drove you to we it's so rare to see somebody become the best at something and then like keep going like 10 more miles after being the best. Um so like what was your I guess journey to the world record like?
Before I had the record, okay, so I started. I want to say I started September 1st. Is like the date, the official date.
Okay.
Started looking into runs more seriously and started like I downloaded the emulator and bought the controller. Okay, my first runs were on laptop with a USB adapter and a third-party controller from China.
Oh boy.
Right there, that's a recipe for disaster. Okay, and my very first run was, oh my god, 220. So it was really bad. But anyways, and my journey to the record, I got the record on August 31st, 2014. So exactly a year later. Like I said, I
That's
was just
wild.
practicing all week long, did runs all weekend long, just rinse and repeat. And back then there was no tutorial really. I mean, Andy made a tutorial A
I
couple
know
months
you're
after I
actually in
started
that
playing.
video because he has chat overlay and you're asking questions in it, I think.
Yeah, and that's another part of my journey is what I do is I always ask a ton of questions when I start out because there's nothing worse than practicing one thing for like 10 hours and realize that you've been doing it wrong all that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So asking a lot of questions, just getting that knowledge as fast as possible really speeds up the process. And yeah, it when you start pulling off hard tricks really quickly, it's really rewarding. But yeah, just kept playing, kept improving, and every time I finished a run, I was like, yeah, this run is bad. I can still save 2 minutes, and kept going. Classic speedrunner mentality. And eventually, I got sub 130. I think 3 months after I started running, and more people started coming into my stream, and that's around when I switched to console.
Mm.
Um, did maybe I don't know 10 15 runs on emulator and switched to console after that, and the improvement was instant. It's just not even comparable.
Yeah.
But yeah, after 130, I'd say that's where the grind really started, because we didn't have the best strats back then either. Like for example, we didn't know that if you dashed into the the second room in Aghanim's Tower,
Hmm.
not the Golden Knights room, but the one after. So you
Yeah.
have to dash into the assault guards, right? And that way, that prevents them from dropping the heart or the fairy. But we didn't know that back then, so we would just slash the guards or spin attack them, and they had a chance to drop the fairy, which means that you didn't have that in T-Rock later. Just stuff like that. We had no knowledge of back then, so yeah, it made things a little less consistent, a little harder, but I mean, that's just what it is.
I didn't realize that particular knowledge wasn't around yet.
Yeah, the person who discovered that specific strat was, ironically enough, DTD.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was known until I want to say 2, 3 years later, like 2015, 2016 is when that was found. But yeah, I kept playing, and I think January 2014 is when I got my first 127. Like January, first week of January, I got my first 127. And SGDQ 2014, the week before that, I got my first 124, 124.58. So getting closer to 124.31. Again, if you assume that Crystal's runs are
Right.
legit, but yeah, which I was at the time because that's what I was
Of course,
competing
everyone
against.
did at the
So
time. Yeah.
yeah, and the first time I broke the record, I got a 124.29. Like I said, August 31st, 2014, in a race against WQ and Blum Bunny on speedrunslive.com. But my PC crashed in Palace of Darkness for like 2 minutes. So we're missing 2 minutes of footage. But I
Yeah.
was so mad at the end of the run that I deleted the run because I was like, well, what's the point? Like it's unverifiable. So,
Yeah. Yeah. That
but
sucks.
yeah, it took a while after that to beat that run. Next time I beat it was in March of 2015. So like half a year later, but finally got it with 124.20, and after that, just kept saving 5-10 seconds off the record until I think the last time I beat the record was 123.10,
Yep.
and after that, WQ took over, Airy and Eddie.
Yeah. So what happened? Do you have any idea why it took you so long to go from that 124.29 to the next PB? That's such a long gap. And like in general, you were improving very fast throughout most of this. So it's a surprising change.
Yeah, it was getting to a point where you couldn't afford making 20, 25 seconds mistake. Your movement had to be pretty clean.
Yeah.
But the thing is, not I don't want to say I lost motivation, but I was still studying for my degree, and I went on trips to other countries and stuff. So I was doing other things, but yeah, it was getting harder to like stay consistent all the time and just hope for good Aghanim luck, Ganon warps luck.
Yeah.
It was a struggle, but yeah, it was worth it.
Speaking of that struggle, I was actually just rewatching the end of your. I have this memory. I watched your PB, of course, when I was getting new into the game. I watched a bunch of runs, and one of them was your current PB. And I had this memory that something happened at the end of it, and I went back and watched the end of it, and it's such a heartbreaker because your current PB is 1:23:09, which is
Yes.
2 seconds off of what was the world record at the time that you got it. And the torch ate your input. You also got several warps, and then you got a torch light ate your input and cost you a world record, which is so tragic.
Yeah, when the torch goes out at the same time that you're trying to like shoot your fire rod, it's gonna eat your fire rod input, and
Yeah.
that happens. I don't want to say a lot, but it does happen. It's not that rare.
It happens especially after cape spins, I think. They fuck up the timing.
Yeah, yeah. Oh well. I was gonna say even though it's not my PB anymore, that 123.19 was probably the best run I've ever done, even to this day.
That one is
Across,
nuts. Yeah.
yeah, the I think it was November 2016. I spent okay, so before a little background, um, before that run, I had spent the entire year of 2016 just grinding to beat my previous run of 123.42 over 11 months, like 11 months and a half, and I just couldn't do it. And I had god runs just died to the dumbest ways possible, and it was really getting to me. And finally, in November 2016, I got that 123.19, and I was so shocked and relieved on stream at the same time that I had to leave my room, just go do something else during the credits because like I couldn't, I couldn't sit here anymore.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I put together a chart one time of I split all the world record, not all the world records, but a bunch of world records going back for a while into light world RNG and dark world times. And your 123.19 like really stands out. It's you have a blue ball and then you save a ton of time in the dark world. And then your next PB, which is with Spooky, only saves 4 seconds in the dark world. Like you were gaming like hell in that 19.
yeah, and that's another thing that comes with not resetting is better Dark Worlds.
Yeah.
Unless you're just straight up practicing Dark Worlds on the practice hack, but I mean,
Yeah, and then let's see. It's funny because we've got this list on the wiki of the world record progression, and a bunch of them are annotated with like new tricks that came in. And so that 124.20 also includes tree rubies. Apparently, was found between those two dates, and then of course the spooky was the final big trick found.
yeah, Spooky. Well, now it's getting old. I think it was 2018, so
Yeah.
6 years, 6 plus years. It's kind of old for a recent trick,
Well,
but
yeah,
it just goes to show that Link to the Past has been studied to death, and there's not much else to find. Even if it's just 1 second, it's massive. But
right.
we're kind of we're scraping the bottom of the barrel here as far as finding frames and seconds to save.
The stuff we find, we still find major glitch stuff, but not a lot of NMG kind of tech.
Yeah, I think the major glitch revolution happened kind of after I stopped running the game seriously. So there's a lot of glitch stuff that I don't know, like hook push, all
Yeah.
of that. It's just no idea.
Were you ever involved in the glitch stuff at all when you were active?
I did reverse boss order with a really old route. Got like a 116, I think, 116.50 something.
I think the world record of that is under 50 minutes now. It's like 48 or something.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. Toiso got it. Toiso.
Uh, I don't know if he had it. I think he rerouted it. I don't know if he also took the record. I think Hoda has it right now. Hoda Ruby.
Oh wow, okay. I was not expecting that name to pop up.
Hoda Ruby, a couple years ago, went through and did a run of every main board category. And for the major glitches ones, he rerouted most of them and took a bunch of world records along the way.
Okay. Okay, because I knew Yuzuhara did all dungeons, like he rerouted some stuff in all dungeons and got that record, but I didn't think Harubi was involved at all.
Yeah, Hoda came through maybe 6 months or something after Yuzu. Not, I don't think they were like coordinated or anything, but he went through and rerouted a bunch of stuff as well. Yeah, so he's got world record in RBO right now. It's only a 52. That's my bad, but yeah,
Pretty fast.
yeah, pretty sick. All right, so moving on. After, I guess if you have anything more to say about Link to the Past, the rest of it is just like then you PB'd by 10 seconds a bunch more times. So
Yeah, yeah, that's all there is to say about that.
yeah, and then you went back to Marble Blast, right? Is that the same Marble Blast game that you played? Because I know you said earlier you were playing a bunch of Marble Blast Gold, and I've seen you stream some Marble Blast game, but I don't know the details or anything.
Yeah, well, recently for the last I want to say 2 3 years, I went back to Marble Blast Gold because we were in the middle of recording a new compilation of world records for that game. They're called World Record Rampages. That's just how the community named them. But yeah, the first compilation, the first Rampage came out in 2006. and now the one that was released this year in March 2024 is the sixth one. And the records are getting so crazy. We basically spend 20, 30 hours to save 2, 3 milliseconds on some levels. It's ridiculous. And I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm done with that game yet or not, but I feel like it's getting there. It's a lot of work just to save nothing, basically.
Yeah, I've heard Dom talk about it a little bit, Dom Turkey, and it
Yeah.
seems pretty nuts. Like you're having to, it runs at like a bazillion frames per second, and you're trying to hit these extremely precise angles at extremely precise times to get these like ridiculous, 3-step ricochets into the goalpost at the end.
Yeah, the FPS so you can get different results depending on what FPS you're playing at. For example, there are some levels where you can trap your marble between a moving platform and a stationary platform or a wall or whatever. And if the higher your FPS is, the stronger you'll get shut out of that trap. So if you're playing at 1000, which is the max, you'll just go flying so fast in one direction that it's basically uncontrollable. But if you get trapped at, let's say, 60 frames per second, it's a lot more manageable. You'll still get a crazy boost, but it's a lot more manageable as far as your control over the marble in the air and stuff like that. So yeah, every level has a specific FPS you want to play it at to get the record.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah, Speaking of Dumb Turchia, he started playing Link to the Past. I want to say first. That's like his first speed game that he did, and then I converted him into playing Marble Blast, and he was the first to really task the entire game, and we learned a lot from that. And he also got some pretty sick records as well. So people coming through Link to the Past getting records in Marble Blast.
It's a tradition now.
Yeah.
Dom also didn't really task Link to the Past, but of course did the Dom Splice, which was a tremendous achievement and which we also learned a lot from. A lot of small things where he tested like lag frames very precisely in a lot of places and stuff like that.
Oh, he tested lag. I did not know about that.
Yeah, there were a bunch of places where he sort of like really dug into sort of like, common knowledge about lag and learned some stuff. Like he was the one who found out that when you're dashing into the Ganon's Tower cutscene, if you cancel your dash before the cutscene, you save some lag frames from not having your sword out.
Okay, so
Bunch
that's
of,
where it comes from.
yeah, a bunch of little things like that.
And I guess when you enter the Zora domain,
Yeah,
canceling your dash is also, yeah,
yeah,
Lost Woods. Okay, yeah.
yeah.
Didn't know that was from him.
I don't know if he discovered it, but I know that he like timed it and like worked out numbers and like actually verified it and stuff like that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, cool guy. I love Dom Splice. Dom Splice is such a sick, you know, artifact.
He's doing a lot of science for us.
Yeah,
He also had the Master Sword record for a while there
yeah.
with 2137. And funnily enough, I think Ari also got a 2137, WQ 2137, and then Eddie got 2134. But yeah, there was a three-way tie at 2137.
For a long time too. Yeah. It was funny because
Speak.
it was you and WQ who were the number 1 and number 2 runners and Dom who has like a 128.
Yeah, he preferred playing the shorter categories.
Yeah.
That's understandable. Yeah. But speaking of Master Sword, I don't know if you know about that, but do you remember seeing the big Master Sword race on speedrunslive.com, the 301 entrance Master Sword
I
race?
know about it because like I've heard people talk about it, but no.
Yeah, so that was one of the craziest thing in speedrunning that we've done. It's massive race. It was restreamed on I forget where, probably on the twitch.tv speedrun something, some Twitch channel. But it was an event called Get Yourself Speedrunning that happened after AGDQ 2015, and that race was just massive. And when the all the top players finished their race, we went to watch the slower racers finish their run, and it was crazy because some guy was stuck on Moldorm for like 2 hours.
Oh god.
Mr. D81, I think was his username, and the second to last racer got to Moldorm, and they both beat the boss at the same time. It was a race to the Master Sword. Like it was crazy.
That's
It was
hype.
such a good. Yeah, that was super hype. Kind of miss those things. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
great.
I wonder if we could find a clip of that. That would be sweet.
Oh man, yeah.
So long
If you
ago
find
now.
it, let me know because that was good.
So, I do have to ask, what do you think about the crystal runs?
I mean, most people will say that they're unverifiable by today's leaderboard standards. I kind of want to say that they're legit. I just I don't know, but
You think so? Even the
I
124s?
yeah,
Okay,
I think they're legit, but
that's really interesting.
yeah.
I really want to rewatch them. I've been thinking about doing a like a series on stream where I rewatch old records, and I would go over the crystal ones because I've looked at them a little bit, but certainly not since I was a strong runner, and I'd be really interested to like see what she's doing in them because I know people because like you say the line that people always use is not verifiable because it's like suspicious but really hard to say.
I think her low percent one hit K run that she did on stream, that one I'm a little more suspicious of because she was doing some weird strats in Ganon's Tower from what I remember. Like the fire snake room, like at the beginning of Ganon's Tower, there's a like fire snake room. That one she did the super risky strat instead of just using the hook shot.
Hmm.
But I don't know. Just stuff like that makes me doubt it a little bit. And it was basically first try on stream, so
A lot of
I don't know
circumstantial
about
stuff.
that.
Yeah.
But her 124.31, she streamed 4 runs, and those were the first runs from her that I saw. Because and her first stream too. Because when I started watching runs, I started watching Link to the Past speed runs in August of 2013, like early August 2013. The first streamer that I watched was Jean Claude, and then it was ACMLM. But they had like 129, 127s. Like they were not really at the top.
Yeah.
And then I watched Crystal, and she just like destroyed the record the first time I watched her. So that was kind of cool, and that's also kind of wanna made me try it out as well.
Interesting.
Just
Yeah.
yeah, an extra motivation.
Yeah. I always forget how fast you got good at the game and that you weren't around during Crystal's heyday.
Yeah, because when I started, she was already retiring
Yeah.
pretty much. She might have done one or two more streams after that, but that was it. So it was really hard to catch a Crystal stream.
Yeah. So who else were you watching around then? Who was I guess you mentioned Andy.
Yeah, I was watching Andy Waffle a little bit. He was playing that game too. He had like a 134, 130 something in that range. So those two, Jaden, whenever he would stream, but he was mostly streaming practice. He would do runs occasionally, but usually he would just practice listening to some music playlist and stuff. But I would also watch it. I would learn stuff from him too.
Do you like watching practice?
I like watching runs more, but I will occasionally watch practice as well. Yeah. Say if it's a game that I recently got into and I want to learn more about, yeah, I'll definitely watch some practice. But if
Yeah,
it's a game like Sailing to the Past that I've played for years and I know quite a bit about, I'm probably not gonna watch practice as much. But
that's fair. I like watching practice sometimes because you can learn things and because you can sometimes help people, give people ideas or knowledge or whatever.
yeah, if there's something that I want to know real quick and I know somebody out there's got the answer, I'm probably just gonna post the question in Discord or something.
Yeah.
Um, Again, when I started running Link to the Past, I was asking, "Oh, what's a hammer jump?" Like I actually asked that in the like you can read the logs
Yeah.
of me asking that. What's a hammer jump? What's pumping? What's water pumping? What's the difference between all those kinds of pumping? Man, and Josh was there to answer all my questions. I think Sean Cass, Andy, Crystal. But yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. I guess Crystal was still active socially, but just not streaming.
I think she was still playing a little bit because I think she streamed like December 2013 is when the one hit KO run was. I might be wrong on that, but yeah, she was still playing a little bit, but not really at the same time.
Yeah.
She was still active socially. The day YBA got found in April 2014, she oh my god, the logs for that you have to read them if you can get your hands on that. You have to read them in the hashtag ALttP on IRC.
Yeah. This
Just
actually
a
just
huge flame war for an entire day.
Oh,
It's
really?
just Oh yeah, it's it's pretty bad, but it's a fun read now.
What's the flame war about? Just about whether it should be legal
It's
or not,
just
or what?
people just deciding what should be banned or allowed, and people attacking each other for that, and people from other communities just coming in and giving their own opinions. Like everybody was just pitching. It's a
Weird.
disaster, but
Why? Who
yeah.
cares? Who? If you don't play the game, what do you care about the glitch? That's so weird.
Yeah, that whole day I was at school doing my finals, and I came back to that, and I had a good read. It was fun.
That's how I felt about some of the like icebreaker stuff. It was very good, popcorn reading after my when I was done with work.
Yeah, when a new trick gets found, it usually sparks conversations, and sometimes, you get a lot of positive conversations, but sometimes it degenerates into like a little bit negative. But
Yeah,
that's just how it is. People get passionate about video games sometimes.
yeah, I feel that. Another thing that you've done in Link to the Past, you still have the 100% world record.
Yeah, surprisingly, I thought Ari would have beaten it like a year ago when he was grinding. I think 2022 is when he last played that.
Sounds about right.
Uh, I think I got mine in January 2022, and he played it the same year or something. I really thought he was gonna beat me during that grind, but oh well. Maybe someone else will, or maybe Ari will do it this year or later. Who knows? But it's definitely beatable. It's not as optimized as Eddie's 122.49 in NMG. I'd say there's probably 40 seconds to save
In Hundo,
realistically. Yeah, if you get good RNG and like everything else.
how much
Yeah,
time do you think there
for
is to save in any percent?
off of Eddie's record with current knowledge, maybe like 15, 20 seconds.
Like a
Like
2x or 3x?
yeah, 122, 26, 27, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we could do that. I think that we can go further, but with current knowledge, that'll probably involve more finding better strats and stuff.
Yeah. I don't see somebody like shaving another minute nor 30 seconds. I think it's 20 seconds, maybe 25, but that's it.
We'll see. I'm always optimistic about how far people are willing to push stuff.
It just takes one super dedicated person or a new runner that has everything to prove. Who knows?
I think that's generally how it goes in these things. Is somebody comes up and they look at the best times and they say, "Well, if those fuckers can do it, I can do it."
Well, that's another thing with new runners is that they pick up the game and they have all this knowledge accumulated from other runners and everything's documented now. So I don't want to say it's easier to get better faster nowadays, except well, maybe it is a little bit, but it just speeds up the process even more because you don't have to learn the bad strats first or the outdated strats. You go straight to the faster everything strats. Saves a lot of time right there, and you can spend all that time grinding runs instead.
Yeah, the knowledge base on this game is really really good, and a lot of it is really well documented. Um, New players have a big advantage. I learned the run. I learned a long time before I started actually running seriously, but I learned from Andy's tutorial, which it's good. It's a good resource, but compared to something like our newer resources like FMG, it's so sloppy and you know,
Yeah, FMG is a really good one.
yeah.
Really good tutorial.
So how do you? Okay, so are those the three games that you've really speedrun? Marble Blast, Link to the Past. No, I guess only two, right? Because you're pretty new to Wind Waker.
Yeah, it's mostly those two. Yeah, Link to the Past
A
and
little SM, I guess, a little DKC3.
yeah, just other games on the side, but mostly focused or was focused on Link to the Past and Marble Blast Gold.
Yeah. Do you feel like do you want another game to take that seriously?
Um, I'm not sure. Might go back to Link to the Past at some point.
Oh, that
Not
would be
sure what
cool.
category yet, but I just don't see myself pushing Wind Waker as hard as I did Link to the Past. It's a huge time commitment, and not only that, but it takes a toll on you because sometimes you could go out, do some stuff, and you're like, nah, I gotta stay inside and grind. I gotta do that one more run. So
Yeah, an 8 hour commitment is pretty big deal.
yeah, I don't think I'm gonna stick to that for long, but we'll see.
Would you maybe do another game? Like, is there anything else you're interested in?
Nothing jumps to mind right now, but it's probably gonna be Super Nintendo games. as usual.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, might come back to Link to the Past, maybe low person, no damage, stuff like that. Just weird categories. Maybe NMG. I wouldn't count on that though.
Have
Maybe
you?
140 in Hundo.
Yeah, that would be cool. Have you ever looked at true low percent NMG where you delete all the hearts?
I've looked at that. Uh, doesn't seem to interest me that much, but
That's fair.
yeah, because you got to delete hearts with the Cane of Samaria, and I forget how exactly,
Various
but yeah,
other
it's
items,
can.
but yeah.
Yeah, you overload the screen and stuff, delete sprites.
I think it would be a cool challenge run. I don't know. I guess you can do low percent no damage on anything, but one of the turnoffs for low percent Oko, which a lot of people ran as like their low percent challenge run, is that it's a ROM hack. And I don't know about you, but I don't really like running ROM hacks.
No, I don't either.
Yeah,
Um, it's well. Speaking of rum hacks, so WQ is playing on the no blue ball, no warps rum
yeah,
hack. It's very tempting because you can basically finish all your runs, and all your runs are going to be good because you won't lose time to Aghanim and Ganon. But it doesn't feel 100% legit, and if you do beat your NMG PB, you can't submit it because it's a ROM hack. So just because of that, I I don't feel like playing on that. I prefer to play on the vanilla, which is
yeah,
why I did my low percent one hit KO run, or not one hit KO, but no damage run on the vanilla card because it just adds a layer of, you know, it's more official, it's more legit, even though it's basically the same thing, but it's just not played on a ROM hack.
yeah. I think that if everyone had always been playing on a zero warp, zero blue balls ROM hack, then that would be fine in some ways. But like, it's not. I'm not competing against you if I'm running where you know you're losing 20 seconds in 2/3 of your runs, and I'm not. Like that's such a ridiculous advantage that like it's not like so different that it feels like, oh, I'm running a different category and that's fun. It just feels like I'm sort of cheating. Like I get the appeal,
Yeah,
but it's not for me.
yeah, it would have to have its own separate
Yeah, yeah.
leaderboard. Yeah,
I think WQ's asked about getting a separate leaderboard set up for it. I don't know if there's any progress on that, but maybe we'll get it up.
maybe if more people ran that, who knows?
Yeah. All right. So your current goal is 807 Wind Waker.
In that range, yeah.
When you hit 807, what's your next goal going to be?
Probably sub 530 and 80%
Oh, okay.
glitchless. And once that's done, I'm not sure. Maybe Link to the Past again. Who knows?
So actually, I meant to ask this earlier, but kind of got caught up. Can you tell me a little bit about what glitchless is? Because I was looking at the Wind Waker leaderboards, and I don't think I found the category that you run on there.
Oh, because there's a tab. It's called glitchless. You got to click on it, and then it's 80% in hundo. But glitchless.
Oh,
Okay,
I think
so
this was when you were running it under a different category name. It was called like Bug Limit or something. But I see glitchless.
yeah, until a year ago, it was called bug limit. But then they had a discussion about how it should be named, and more glitches that should be banned,
I see. Gotcha.
all that. But yeah. But yeah, glitchless. So Wind Waker is a pretty broken game. You have stuff like super swimming, where you pull out the Wind Waker, and pulling out the Wind Waker freezes your camera so that you're always looking at Link face to face. But if you hold back, or depending, yeah, back or up, depending, it's gonna flicker the camera back and forth every frame, and that charges up a ton of speed for you to just like shoot across the ocean real fast. And
Okay.
that was poorly explained, but that's the gist of it. Um, but yeah, super swimming, storage. You can skip cutscenes with that. You can clip through walls, clip through doors, climb up walls. Like you can do everything. It's so broken. But all those glitches are banned.
Okay. That makes more sense. I was just trying. I was confused by the Bug Limit name, I think. But yeah, that all makes sense. It looks like it saves a lot of time. True any percent is 52 minutes. Any percent glitchless is 5.5 hours.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's crazy.
Do you have any interest in doing the glitchy categories? They solve the problem of the run being too long.
I actually started playing the Wind Waker years and years ago by
Hmm.
doing the glitch categories. Back when the record was like 3 hours something, like 3 hours 57, or
Wow.
a very high 3 hours, or maybe low 4 hours. But yeah, I stopped soon after because it just wasn't my thing. I didn't really enjoy it.
Do you find that in general? Because you're mostly an NMG guy in Link to the Past too. Although you did run, you participated in the All Dungeons tournament.
Yeah, although all dungeons kind of has a few skips. Yeah, skips quite a bit of the game, but it still feels like I'm playing through the game
Yeah,
and not skipping a whole lot. And that's kind of why I like glitchless categories. It feels like I'm playing through the game. The Wind Waker true any person run is 52 minutes. I mean, you're skipping everything basically. It doesn't feel like I'm I don't know. I'm skipping 90% of the game. I'm not playing the game really.
yeah. So just in general, you don't like that feeling.
Yeah.
Gotcha. One thing that I like to ask people on here is sort of how you feel like speedrunning has impacted your life, like outside of speedrunning itself. It sounds like you were sort of born a speedrunner, though, but I'm still interested in your thoughts on it.
I mean, the way I approach speedrunning, like I say, when I start something new, I just want to get the most knowledge possible. I just ask tons of questions, and that's just that process just goes in my life as well. When I do whatever, like a new job, I'm gonna do the same. Learn, ask questions, and then just practice, become better at it. I don't know. I don't even know what what to say to that.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of people, like for me, I think that learning Link to the Past really taught me like a lot about how to practice, for example. Um, so I don't know, maybe anything like that. But again, it sounds like you sort of like had this from when you were very young, so maybe it doesn't really run in that direction.
Oh yeah, it's always been a passion. It never felt like an absolute chore, except sometimes when you're trying to PB and it just takes that
Yeah,
123.19 especially, that was the worst. Like I spent a whole year grinding and
yeah,
that was a struggle, probably the biggest struggle in my speedrunning career, I guess, if you can call it that. But other than that, I've always enjoyed it, hung out with friends, raced, so it didn't feel like it was a struggle all that much. It was just fun. I still enjoy it to this day, so I guess if it taught me something, it's just to not get discouraged quickly,
yeah,
because a lot of people, oh, they don't PB after 3 runs and they quit the game or whatever. It's just no, just keep going, keep learning, practice. You don't have to do runs every day. Just practice maybe one thing each day, or not even. Just play when you feel like it, but just don't quit. Don't get discouraged, and just enjoy the process, I guess.
yeah. I think that's all very good advice. I think that I learned some of that from speedrunning too. Do you have anything else you want to talk about? I've asked you most of the stuff I was interested in.
Um, yeah, I think that covers everything.
All right, I'll look forward to watching some more, lurking some more of your Wind Waker runs.
Oh yeah. Well, you got 8 hours to show up.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on. Catch you later.
All right, catch you later. Thank you.
Bye.